Good evening. Welcome to my page, my home. um, Today, kind of what I want to talk about is what is it that makes people tick? What is it that people want the most in life? I'll give you a moment to think about that. Have you got it? You might have an idea. You might be bang on, but you might not be. Either way, it's all good. Um, so, what I want to talk today about is happiness and our perspective of what that means. Because that perspective of what makes you happy may be very different from one person to the next. One person may need very, very simple things to be happy, and another one may be having higher expectations of other people or even of themselves so that they can be happy, so they're disallowing their happiness. And that's something that we don't really want to do. I made some notes this time because I was thinking about this through the week. So you need to prioritize your happiness and state of being, your wellness, your diet, meditation, state of mind, faith, spirituality, self-love, and create happy energy for yourself. You can't be happy if you're not prioritizing all of these important things above your work. Work is important, but it's a means to an end, which is to earn money to live. Even if you love your work, it is still not feeding you and helping you to stay happy. And happiness is really important. It is an inside job. And some days it's easier than others. And for some people it's easier for others than others all the time. There are people who are out there promoting love, 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 and happiness, and they're the least happy people. They're depressed and they're, closeting themselves after putting out a certain amount of energy. I get that because they're feeding off of that energy and almost convincing themselves that they're not depressed. So that being said, there are some tricks to being happy, and the first one and the most important one is to be yourself. Be your authentic self. Be who you want to be. Very simple. Be who you want to be. You may not be able to do all the things that you want to do. You may not be able to afford all the things that you want, but that doesn't matter. Happiness, again, it's an inside job. It's in here, and it's in here. It's not what somebody else said to you or does or whatever. It's a total inside job. I don't know why. That's bugging me. That was bugging me. So, and each one of us, and not only are unique, but we were brought to this world for one specific purpose. And we're born, we don't know what it is. We're supposed to figure it out. That's what we're here for in this globe, in this world, to figure out what it is that we came here for. What you'll find is that if you're on target with what you're supposed to be doing, you'll find people that meet that vibe that you're resonating at. And if you're not being your authentic self, you won't necessarily jive with things with everybody. That being said, a person who's on the spiritual path, a person who is very serious about yoga, very serious about meditation, people who are false can't stay around you for very long because you pick up on what's going on with them. And they know it. So they want to be around people that they can fool. And that's great. But that means you might be in social circles where certain people are, trying to stay away from you because they don't want their little bubble of lies to be broken, because they don't know themselves. It's not that they're malevolent liars or anything like that. It's more that a lot of people will, in this day and age, pretend to be something that they're not. And then they end up getting depressed because they aren't being their authentic self. So that's the basis of why it is so important to be yourself, to know thyself. And so if you haven't spent any time meditating. That's one of the first, most important places to not so much find out who you are, but to give your head a break from all the cacophony of noise that is battering your earbuds, not earbuds, your ears. Everywhere you go, there's noise. My throat's itchy today. Everywhere you go, there's noise. The city's much, much more noisy than smaller towns are, but in the city, where do you go to get away from that noise? You have to find a way. And I did find that when I was living in a very loud city on a main street, that meditation in the beginning was difficult because I was used to having this lovely environment on the lake, that right on the beach, and I could hear the water and all that. It was lovely. And I remembered that my teacher said one time, the room does not do the meditating for you. Yeah. The room doesn't do the meditating, you do. And some days your meditation will be better than others. And some days it will be not enjoyable. Sometimes there'll be so much friction. Well, that's kind of, you're trying to take a mind that is vacillating, running around, catching everything around you, and you're asking it to slow down. And it takes a little bit longer some days than others, depending on where your mindset is at. So, be yourself. You are uniquely qualified to do something in this world. You are uniquely qualified to do what it is that you do the best. Our job is to figure out what that thing is. So, you are uniquely qualified to bring something to your community, to your family, to your school, to your workplace. But you're uniquely qualified to do something. And again, you want to enjoy your presence here on earth, right? And you want to share your gifts. But for some people, it's hard to figure out what their gifts are, because either so good at doing so many things that they can't choose, or they feel they're no good at anything, even though they're very good at a lot of things. So I know myself. I'm gifted as a teacher, and it doesn't matter what I teach, but I do like teaching things, physical things. I do like teaching yoga. I do like teaching aquafit. I like to teach energy medicine. I like to show people how to help themselves heal and help others to heal. And I like to teach people how to work out with weights. It's fun. Physicality is fun. And to be able to change your body and help somebody else change their body is also really fantastic. So I'm also really, really liking the Panch Mahayagi that I do. And I'm forming groups of people to teach it to. Since Prabhupada Rajrishi left his body in November, I'm the chief teacher of the Panch Mahayagi internationally now. I don't even know if he appointed any other teachers that he might have that I'm not aware of. I know there was one person in the United States that came to learn from him as well. So, to keep yourself happy, it's really important that you don't dissipate your energy in a direction other than where you'd like it to go, at least on a regular basis. There are things that we have to do in life that we don't want to do, but for the most part, you want to be spending your time and energy on things that make you feel good, even if it's only in your off hours. So that's where it becomes really important what your relationships are. Because if you're in a workplace that isn't really allowing you to have any sense of happiness, and it's just mundane, repetitive work, or even something that you just don't enjoy that much because of the environment, the silliness of the cliquiness of the workplace, or something like that, it's just really important that your mindset has comfort and happiness. You want to be comfortable with the people around you in your own free time. So if you are coming home to try and wash away the day, and whoever's with you isn't on board with understanding that, then it could be a difficult relationship. So it's really, really important to know how to communicate what's happening at work, what's happening that's good, what's happening that's not so good. To have a really, really open communication with your partner, because that is super important. Without that, you don't get through the problems quite as easily in life. And that's part of what a partnership is for, is understanding each other's stuff and helping each other out with your stuff, thus growing together. So, happiness also helps you to make your dreams come true. What do I mean by that? If you aren't already happy in some aspect of your life, pick something that you really enjoy and start doing it. And try to get into that space of happiness, of feeling good, of feeling like everything's fun. Because when everything is fun, life is just so much better. When you start to prioritize your happiness, it's easier to make that deadline. It's easier to check off all the boxes on your to-do list for you. You want to make sure that you have a to-do list for you and prioritize you, not just the tasks that you need to do for your business or for your home or whatever. Being able to make your dreams come true is really important. Really important. And then another great big, massive, bodacious goals. But if you know where you're going, it's easier to get there, isn't it? So, to begin to share your gifts, start with something you really love to do. And you'll find people will respond to it nicely. You'll get some feedback and you master that craft. Whatever it is. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Just want to give you some ideas. So, what helps you to figure out where you're at is to keep a neutral state of mind. And I don't mean emotionally low, I mean neutral. So that you can observe everything around you and everyone around you, and even yourself to a certain extent. Neutral is the place to be, because if you're flying too high, you're going to be, you're going to have this frenetic energy that is difficult for a lot of people to deal with. I'm like that a lot. I have to slow myself down sometimes. But you also don't want to be low and oh, poor me. Blah, blah. You don't want to be that either. Somewhere in between being low energy and high energy and bringing it to a neutral state of mind. Again, not too low emotionally or mentally, with a positive energy flow. Because why? You're more connected to the universe if you're a little bit grounded. So you want a little bit of both. You want a little bit of that groundedness, reaching down, roots into the earth, and the other aspect of you want reaching up towards the sky. You know, you need both of that. You need both of those polarities. They're both important. So, what happens when you don't prioritize your happiness? You start to prioritize all your fears and all your worries and all the negativities. You start to worry that you're not going to be successful with what you want to do. You treat your to-do list as a have-to-do list. Well, no. A to-do list, again, two sides. Side for you, side for tasks. The tasks, of course you have to get tasks done in life. We've got to keep our place clean. We've got to keep ourselves clean. We've got to eat 2 or 3 meals a day, however many you eat. And it's really, really key to know what's going on, to have set some goals, to have made some lists, and to have a feeling that isn't like negative. A lot of people think if they didn't get something done that they are a failure. Well, no. If you still got it on your to-do list, take it and put it on the list for the next day, or give yourself a more reasonable time frame to complete something. It's really important to be kind to yourself. It really, really is. Your self-love is absolutely key. And self-love is, in your body. It lives right here, solar plexus. And a lot of people have problems with this area because they haven't really gotten to the place where they really do love themselves. And for some people, it's really hard to do. Sometimes we need somebody else to help us see what our real strengths are. So that as an exercise, it would be nice if you could pick a few people that you know fairly well and trust and ask them, what is it that you think I'm really good at? What is it that you think I should be focusing my energy on? When you think of me, what do you think of? Ask those. You can make up some other questions, but I think those are the key ones to really understand yourself better. Get some perspective from other people, because we can't see ourselves the way they do see us. And sometimes you do need feedback on what people are seeing in you. So back to this whole concept of love. Love is multi-level. Purest love is not an emotion. It is your very, very nature. Your nature is love. You come into this world loving little baby, reaching for things, trying to figure out what is this hand, what are these toes, sticking the big toe in the mouth and rolling around, trying to figure out what to do with this body. And it's very interesting. Next time you get a chance, take a look at a baby. We're gonna have one in my family soon. Yay. Actually, not my boyfriend's family, actually. My boyfriend's daughter is going to be having a baby in September very soon, so have that experience with a very young baby again very soon. So if love is not an emotion in your very nature, what is the opposite of it? Anything opposing your nature is unhealthy. Anything that opposes your nature. So there's so many things that we are called to do, or that we have to kind of just ignore in other people's behavior, so that we don't get pulled into argumentation with people about things, because that drains your energy. And you want to keep your energy, again, not way up here, not way down here, but right about here. And you want to keep your mindset the same. You want to be clear and open so that you can see everything that's happening around you. And not to judge it, but to make decisions on what you choose and what you choose to not do. It's really as simple as that. Anything opposing your nature is unhealthy. It really is as simple as that. And, oh yeah, money. Money is just a form of energy. I think we've all heard that before. It is. It's just a form of energy. And it actually is the outcome of happiness. Because if you're happy doing what it is that you're doing, selling a service or helping somebody find something, sales, whatever it is that is your thing, you feel happy doing it and you're more productive. And that happiness results in more money coming your way. So being productive and placed well will bring you an income. It'll bring you the right people, it will attract the right situations, and bring prosperity. And what else did I write down here? Standards. Standards and relationships. Why do some relationships work out really well and others don't? It starts with, what are your standards? What are your, not so much your expectations of the other person, but what are your standards in terms of, if you're into music and that person is also into music, are they into the same genres of music as you? Even if it's just a few of the genres that you have that you can match up on, you've got a place to start getting to know somebody. But if you don't have something in common, or reading books, or working out with weights, swimming, something, whatever, an activity that you already do, some sort of standard of dress, a standard of behavior, a standard of cooking, a standard of everything. There is a standard in every aspect of your life. So if you can find somebody who has similar standards, honesty, truth is a big one. Personality traits. One of the things I love the most about my current boyfriend is he makes me laugh. He just makes me laugh, even when I don't feel great. He makes me laugh. He's really funny. He's a really funny, really sweet guy. You know, and I think that everybody needs different things. And different things at different times of your life. You may find that a person who was perfectly fine for you for a couple of years, all of a sudden you don't connect anymore. Well, it's not between you. It's that one person is growing in this direction and one person is growing in the other direction. People sometimes grow apart, and there's nobody to blame for it. It just happens. Even when you're really, really doing a good job at being a couple, sometimes things don't last. They used to have a saying, I think people probably still do say that, there are reasons for people coming into your life. There's people come into your life for a reason. I think it was a reason, a season, or for just one specific thing, to help you with one specific thing. And it's kind of important to understand the difference. If somebody's with you for a season, they won't be around for very long. They may be just coming in to teach you something, or for you to teach them something. When that's done, they're gone. You know? A season. Maybe somebody has never had a really strong relationship before, and they're hanging on to you, but then all the responsibility is on you to teach that person what a healthy relationship with some healthy boundaries is. And then there's narcissists. Well, you don't want to be around a narcissist. A little bit of narcissism is okay. When I'm saying narcissism, you don't want to be around a narcissist. I mean a pathological narcissist. I don't mean, because narcissism, mild narcissism can be perceived as partially self-love. It's, again, does it reach the point where it goes beyond self-love and starts to be disliking everybody else, and the other person thinking that they're better than others? I don't like egotistical people that way. You should be friendly to everybody and be able to get along with everybody, regardless of where they are in your social circle. I should be able to. Doesn't mean it's always possible, because there's always that one person who, pulls your chain and you don't want to be around them that much. And that's just part of life. That's just part of life. And not everybody in your circle will be vibrationally connected to you or be interested in anything you have to say or do. And so they're just not going to be drawn to you. Somebody you went to high school with who might have been a really good friend in high school might not be a friend now because they have gone in a different direction. I have one friend who was a really, really good friend in high school, and then a really, really good friend when I moved away to Toronto, and then she moved to another place. And when she moved to that place, I didn't see her anymore unless I went to her, because she's the kind of person who everybody's got to come to her. And, well, I find that a little bit one-sided. And so after a while, I was like, your friends need to meet you halfway. And I don't mean like they've got to drive to pick you up and you meet them halfway. That's not what I mean. I mean in terms of mental, emotional, spiritual, sharing, all of that. They've got to understand where you are coming from. And if they don't understand where they're coming from, they can't understand where you're coming from. So it's so important to know yourself. Like, it's one of the most important things. And if people are not comfortable being alone for any length of time, they're usually not very comfortable in company either. It's interesting how that works. And I know that I'm pretty good all by myself for long periods of time if I need to be. But I'd like to be around people. But I like my space. I like to rejuvenate as well. I like to read. I like to do my meditation. I like to study. I like to do my exercises. My exercises I do like to do with somebody if they happen to be around when I'm doing them. And, I guess this is the thing to close us off for tonight. When you are productive to yourself, you are productive to the universe. When you are productive to yourself, you are productive to the universe. Which hits at home that if you're in your zone with doing...
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Siri thought I was talking.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
It's okay, Siri. Don't worry. I don't know how I activated. Okay, so I lost my spot. So when you're productive to yourself, you are productive to the universe. Even if you can't see that as a result. Does that make sense? So, when you're doing what you're happy doing, you have an attractive energy that attracts people like you to you. And when you're not happy, you send out this energy that repels people. I don't know if you ever saw Monsieur Emoto, Dr. Emoto, who was the guy who put the water in Petri plates and said different things to them, positive, negative, really, really bad, and then took pictures of the crystals, how they formed. Well, your body's no different. We're 70 to 80% water, and our cells also take in things, verbal things, mental and emotional things, and even thoughts. So really, it's important to be kind to yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. We're all good at certain things and better at certain things than others. and there are things that we're not as good at. That's where it's really nice to know yourself, because if I know that I can cook something special for my mom and dad, for my boyfriend, that they can't cook, that's kind of cool. If I can make something for someone rather than buying it for someone, then it becomes a more special thing. It doesn't matter what your skills are and your abilities. It's a matter of how are you using them, and are you using them in relationship with others, or are you keeping your skills to yourself? One of my favorite hobbies was always making cards. I used to make cards for everybody at Christmas, Easter, birthdays, everything. Handmade cards. Sometimes I would even make the paper. But I like, if I'm gonna paint on something, I want a good quality paper that's capable of dealing with watercolor. But I used to make tons and tons of cards, and then all of a sudden, lifestyle wasn't working because I was just so busy that I didn't have time for it. And all that stuff is in a couple of boxes over there. I get it out again one of these days, and don't have the right space for it right now. I've kind of a small apartment here in Leamington. Believe it or not, it's a lot smaller than my apartment was in Toronto. Like twice my apartment in Toronto was twice the size. So I don't have as much room to do a lot of things here as I did there. Well, I'll get around to it one of these days. But and if you're not doing something that you love, it doesn't matter if it's your hobby that you used to do or what, find something that you love to do. I don't care if it's going to the store and picking a movie and watching a new movie every week, or going to the library and borrowing a movie or a book or whatever, picking up the phone, calling a friend, whatever it is that makes you tick. Going out to listen to live music is one of my favorite things to do, and going out dancing, one of my favorite things to do. But everybody's got their own thing, or a number of things. But I think just start jotting all that stuff down. What do you like to do? What do you like to do? And make sure you do it. Because that's really what you're here for, is to experience as much positivity as possible, and to help people with your perspective. If you aren't getting out there and meeting people, you can't give your perspective to people you aren't meeting. So that being said, I am going to dissipate my energy from my computer, and I am going to take it off to bed and go to sleep. So good night, everybody. Thank you all for chiming in.